All right, so today's video is going to be a little bit different. Today, we are not going to be looking at a right-wing, Republican, conservative. Today, we are going to be talking about a creator that I have actually defended before here on this channel. Another very big, very large creator, and that is David Pakman. He has a very large channel. I'm sure most of my audience is aware of who David Pakman is. If you're not, he does a show on YouTube. I'm sure it's posted on other platforms too. He's got over 2 million subscribers here on YouTube. He's a progressive, or so he claims, and a bunch of other progressive voices that I look up to and listen to have, talked about him, referenced him, interacted with him. But today we're talking about David Pakman because, and I wanted to talk about this a couple of months ago. I never did. I don't know why. But today we're gonna listen to some of David Pakman's coverage, I guess. I guess the better word would just be responses to callers that call into his show. But some of David Pakman's coverage on Israel, and spoiler warning, it's pretty fucking awful. Again, just for context here, so people don't think that I don't even know. Fucking every time I fucking talk about other progressive creators or channels and, criticize them, people think I'm just using them for views. Here's a video I posted last year, March 30th, 2023. David Pakman and Hassan Abi, proof Republicans are pro cancel culture. If you want to go watch the video, go check it out. And another one that was actually posted one day before that other video, in defense of David Pakman, right-wingers try to cancel him over Nashville shooting tweet. Again, those videos are up on the channel. You guys can go and watch them. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm, whatever. Without further ado, I'm going to quit fucking yapping. Here it is.
Why don't we go next to, I believe it's Bara from Indiana. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Bara from Indiana.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay. So I wanted to ask you, first of all, I love your show very much. And I wanted to ask you about the war in Gaza. So you were asked about this before, and you said something like you were like pretty vague about it. I feel like whenever you talk about foreign policy, you're always like really coy about it, because all you said was like something like, "Oh, I'm not in favor of bombings."
Oh, I've said way more than that. I mean, I've done, probably 8 or 10 segments since October 7th about it. It's not the main gist of this show.
Just really quick here for context, and I'm not going to get into this a lot in this video, but David Pakman's foreign policy takes have historically, at least for me as a still a very young progressive, pretty fucking awful, pretty bad.
But to say that that's the one thing I said, I think you should probably just go back and watch all the clips if you want to know what I've said, because I've said way more than I could possibly cram into this phone call. Let's put it that way.
Okay, I mean, okay, let me clarify then. Are you in favor of continuing to send Israel aid as they're continuing the war, or do you think we should call for a ceasefire right now, or what?
There's no way to answer. That's all different things. So first of all, I want
it's not though.
Immediate end to hostilities and the hostages all to be released. I struggle to understand how you do that when Hamas has said they're not going to stop and continue trying to do October 7th's over and over and over again. So when it comes to a ceasefire, I'm kind of with Bernie Sanders on this.
And Bernie Sanders, again, he's a little better on it now, but his rhetoric, especially as one of the strongest progressive politicians in our government, his rhetoric has not been nearly strong enough. Very disappointing from Bernie Sanders, the rhetoric that he has had on Israel's ongoing genocide in Gaza of the Palestinian people. But my point to David so far, at least, would be, he said, Hamas said that they're going to keep repeating or keep doing as many October 7ths as they possibly can. My question to David, or I guess what I would say to David, I don't really know if this would be a question or not. I don't know how I'm going to word it. Like, why does he think a group like Hamas exists in the first place? Why does he think Hamas was elected by the Palestinian people? I feel like, especially as someone who has 2 million subscribers, again, very popular, very popular. David Pakman should be able to understand how Israel's apartheid regime, which I'm, again, pretty sure he doesn't even think that it's an apartheid regime, how Israel's apartheid regime has not created groups like Hamas. Like, why does he think that that needs to exist in the first place? He just thinks that it's just random? I don't get it.
I want hostilities to end. I want the bombing to stop. I want the hostages to get out. In practice, I don't know how you do a ceasefire with Hamas, whose charter calls for the destruction of Israel, and leaders have said we're not going to stop.
But Israel's also, again, Israel has routinely, and we keep finding out new information about this every single day. Well, maybe not every single day, but Israel has routinely, since October 7th, rejected multiple ceasefire deals, okay? And that's not something you need to go search around for. You can look that shit up on Google it right now, and you'll see that. I mean, they've rejected multiple different ceasefire deals. Right? He's not going to talk about that, though.
I mean, it sounds like you don't even know. You don't even know. You don't have like a strong position, because you on the one hand you don't want to continue the war, but also you don't know how you would end the conflict.
No, so it's not that I don't even know. Are you saying how I would end the overall Israeli-Palestinian conflict, or how I would end this immediate flare-up that we're dealing with right now?
Well, I guess both. Like, just what you would do at this point, like as the U.S., what you would push for.
I think at this point,
I like how he's able to sit there and admit that there is in his own words, an ongoing Palestinian and Israeli conflict, if that's the terminology you want to choose to use. I'm guilty of using that terminology myself, so I can't knock him too much for that. He's able to sit there and admit that there is an ongoing conflict between Israel and Palestine, or Israelis and Palestinians, excuse me, holy shit. But he's sitting there saying, it doesn't make sense. He's admitting that there is something that was going on before October 7th, but what's causing that conflict, David? What was causing that conflict before October 7th's conflict?
So first of all, on ending the broader conflict, I've put out my 10 to 12 point plan.
I've seen it, yes.
Dozens of times. So I hope I don't need to restate that. But in terms of my bigger picture on the conflict, I've put that out. Right now, I don't know what I would do, in the sense that obviously Israel is not going to do nothing to try to get the hostages out. They're going to try to get the hostages out. So certainly my preference would be, given that they're going to try to get the hostages out, what is the way to do it with the least civilian collateral damage possible? It's probably special forces type operations. The problem with this is...
No, David, it's not fucking special forces operations. It's fucking Israel fucking coming out and saying, we're not gonna fucking keep murdering innocent civilians. We're going to lay down our arms. We can fucking have a ceasefire. It's not whatever the fuck you're sitting here talking about. He's pro-war. He's literally pro-war, and he calls himself a progressive. That shit pisses me off.
A lot of people say Israel shouldn't do any bombing. It should be all special forces operations. And then we saw an example of that being done. Video was actually released from that being done. And some of the very same people said, no, that was also wrong to do because they're there illegally at that hospital, etc. So,
oh my fucking God, he's talking about the fucking hospital. I didn't know exactly what he was referencing there. Oh my God, I don't even know if I can fucking speak about this here on YouTube because of the fucking shit that the action they take when you talk about shit like this. For those of you, oh my God, what he's referencing is literally a straight terrorist attack by the IDF. They went into a hospital and literally murdered civilians that they claimed were Hamas terrorists. And the video that he's referencing, I have seen, and the video is fucking horrific. It is one of the worst things I have ever seen in my entire life. I can't encourage people to go and watch it, but I think that me personally, watching stuff like that is important. This motherfucker literally, I mean, he's literally pro-war. That's insane. Again, I don't know how much detail I can go into. YouTube takes action against my channel way more than I would like them to, honestly. I don't know about that, man. That's fucking terrible, dude. That is a horrible take.
I don't know that it'll satisfy everybody, Bara, but I would love to see some way of getting the hostages out, mostly through special forces type operations that minimize any civilian casualties as much as...
But that's not going to happen. The IDF fucking murders teenagers. They murder children. They murder children. Fuck that, David. And fuck you. Special forces my ass. 3 teenagers walk down the fucking road they're walking down the road unarmed and fucking they don't have anything, waving a white shirt or a flag, and the IDF fucking offs them. What the fuck are you talking about? Shut the fuck up, bitch.
Possible. That would be my preference. And this is, again, if you go to Israel and you go, listen, the hostages are gone, stop trying to get them out. Obviously, no sane country is going to go with that. So I'm trying to kind of operate in reality.
No sane country? No sane country. If you're claiming that Israel is a sane country, if you're claiming Netanyahu's administration is a sane administration, if you're claiming the IDF is a sane military, I can't engage with you. I just can't. There's no point. There's no point in arguing with ignorant.
To some degree.
I mean, I think Hamas would release the hostages if Israel agreed to a ceasefire. I might be wrong on that.
Yeah, no, the caller's a little more docile than I would have been. And, you know, I get nervous calling in. I called on the majority report, and my fucking nerves were through the roof. That's also a video here on the channel, W video. No, the caller's exactly right. The caller is 100% right. They don't need to doubt themselves. Bara, I believe they said their name was. Exactly right, Bara. Good job. Yeah, you know more than David. Your rhetoric is better than David's is.
I don't know what they've said exactly, but
yeah, I mean I doubt it.
There you go. I mean, I don't even know if I need to. I have a second video pulled up. Actually, I have a second video pulled up here. Where's this one at? I have a second video pulled up. Caller confronts me about Hamas versus Israeli terror. Terror in quotations. Yes. And I feel like the caller, because this is also where he's responding to a caller, I feel like the caller in this video has a little bit stronger rhetoric, and I was going to play this, but I mean, I don't really know if I need to or if I want to now.
You know, I think maybe they would say, we will stop hostilities very briefly if you give us, you know, a 10-to-1 ratio in exchange for the hostages, and then they would start right back up. That's my instinct. And again, I'm kind of like in the Bernie line with this. So my view on this is very similar to Bernie Sanders.
That's such a
But
great way of hiding behind a fucking, I don't even know. That's such a great way of sidestepping your responsibility and you literally being pro-Palestinian genocide, saying, "Well, I'm aligned with Bernie Sanders on this." So, Bernie says it, and he's one of the main progressive politicians that we have, one of the only actual progressive politicians we have. So, I'm aligned with Bernie on it, So, if you don't like what I have to say, I mean, where are you going to criticize? Are you going to take it up with Bernie? Take it up and criticize Bernie Sanders? Fuck that. Fuck that, David. That's fucking that's like some teenager shit. That's some little kid fucking you don't know. That's like fucking, oh my God. I went to a fucking, for those of you that might not know, I went to a private school my whole life. When I got older, I finally started realizing I was being fucking severely indoctrinated, not only by Christianity, but also by the conservatism I was surrounded by. When I finally was able to step out of that incredibly inane bubble, I fucking was able to recognize the other people that were severely indoctrinated like I was, and I knew it was almost every fucking goddamn kid I went to school with. They all, any political position or opinion or whatever they held was just their parents' position just being repeated. Okay? And I'm not like, what David's doing when he says, well, that's, I'm aligned with Bernie Sanders on that. That just, I don't know why, but that reminds me of that. Well, we're going to try it. Okay. We're going to try it. I don't know how far I'm going to get through this, cause I'm kind of past it. Okay. I'm kind of over it at this point. I'm kind of over listening to David Pakman fucking talk.
Let's go back to Discord and hear from a few more people, as we like to do on.
Hold on. Sorry about that. That is sped up for some reason. I don't know why that was sped up.
On the Friday show. Let's go to Mr. Mosley from Dallas, Texas. Mr. Mosley, welcome to the program. What's on your mind today?
Hi, can you hear me, David?
Yes, I can.
Hey, I was just wondering, like, with the whole Israel and Gaza thing, like, how come when Hamas does kill civilians, it's considered terrorism, but when Israel does it, it's like moral, righteous. Like, what's the difference here?
And the caller makes an extremely, that's a very good point, because even again before October 7th, because everyone just wants to act like October 7th was the begin all fucking for all of this fucking shit. Even before October 7th, you could very well make the case and provide evidence as such to prove your point that the IDF was a terrorist organization that also murdered civilians actively, right? Caller makes a very good point here. And that's the rhetoric from people on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, Newsmax. It's all the same. Mainstream media coverage of Israel and Palestine is absolutely horrendous no matter where you go. It is Al Jazeera, right? Even the BBC, I mean, I'm not saying like even the BBC, like they're like, there's nothing you can criticize the BBC for other than that, but like, it's all bad. It's all really fucking bad.
Who says that?
I hear a lot of commentators,
a lot of people
like
say that shit,
on
David.
mainstream media, MSNBC, CNN, that don't like the way they talk about Israel. It's not the same way that they talk about Hamas.
Okay.
It
True.
killed more civilians than Hamas.
Well, listen, there's two different things. That your first assertion was that what they're saying is that when Israeli civilians die, it's terrorism, but when Gazan civilians die, it's moral. I asked you who said that, and now you're taking a different claim, which I think is maybe one we can engage with more, which is just that there's different treatment of Israel and Gaza. Is that more fair? Is that what you meant?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's two different things here. One is there are some media outlets that have a bias one way or the other.
No, what the fuck?
And that can explain how they cover the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
He said some news outlets have a bias, buddy. Everyone has a bias, okay? Every news outlet has a bias. David has a bias. I have a bias. Everyone watching this video, everyone watching David's video, this caller, every fucking person has a bias. And when people say be unbiased, they're fucking being stupid, okay? If I went up to somebody and told them to negate any and all biases they may have for the remainder of the conversation, and I would do the same, there would be no fucking conversation. You want to know why? Because that's impossible. You can't sit there and be unbiased. The only person that's unbiased is a baby that was just fucking born. That's not even going to be able to have a conversation with you. There's no such thing as unbiased. That shit pisses me off. People are like, some news stations have bias. Everyone has a bias.
There's another
That's another stupid ass way of David skirting around this issue and skirting around his responsibility and skirting around the fact that he is literally pro-Palestinian genocide. Come on, David.
This also, which is that there's a difference between civilians as collateral damage, which is still tragic.
He is not sitting there saying that I don't even know what the number is, and that is completely on me, 30,000 plus Palestinian civilians, almost half of them children, are collateral fucking damage. Collateral damage, really, bitch. Really.
But different than a policy of finding and killing civilians. Now, I know just by saying that, lots of people will be furious with me.
Dude, they have been... Oh my God.
They'll say, David, Israel does have a policy of deliberately targeting civilians. We're not going to be able to have that fight right here, but at least theoretically,
no, David.
Deliberately targeting civilians. We're not going to be able to have that fight right here.
No, it's not a fight. That's what Israel does. They deliberately target civilians. There is overwhelming evidence to support that claim.
But at least theoretically, Mr. Mosley, does it make some sense to you that there's a difference between a military carrying out operations and accidentally...
So he's literally pro-war. I wasn't even like, that was just like me, he's actually pro-war.
Killing civilians. We could say not enough concern, disregard, but different.
Yeah, dude. Not enough concern, disregard. You just shoot 3 innocent, unarmed, young men walking down the road. Normal shit. Yeah, we'll just call that being careless, David. Good job.
Then
that's what that is.
Hamas, for example,
that's not deliberately targeting civilians. Okay.
Find civilians to kill of no military or strategic value whatsoever. At least theoretically, do you agree that there is a difference between the two things?
Yes, but I have seen videos.
You wanna know what? I ain't gonna watch it anymore. David should just, he should just go work for, I don't even know. Maybe like, I don't know, Newsmax, I don't know, maybe The Blaze, Glenn Beck's shit. Yeah, maybe that. I don't know. Maybe David should just go be a fucking, go be on Fox News. I don't even know. When you got rhetoric like that, and you call yourself a progressive, seriously, shit. I don't even know. David needs to, I feel like if he auditioned for one of the big right-wing networks, he'd get that job. That being said, that's enough of whatever this shit show has been. That's going to be it for the video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, press that bell, turn on all notifications so you guys never miss an upload.